Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Highland Bullpen. We're very fortunate that Richard and Dave Jr. have managed to make their way across the pond for the World Cup and some baseball. So the boys are just going to give us a little bit of chat about what they saw this time on their baseball trips, what was new, what was different, what they particularly enjoyed, and maybe any sort of advice and thoughts for the future as well. So, Richard, you covered a fair bit of ground in your World Cup adventures, probably more ground than the actual team you went to follow. But you want to tell us a wee bit about that and map it out for us?
Yeah, absolutely, Alan. Yep, all the way from Citi Field in the Mets down to Miami to watch the Marlins, and then all the way over 2,500 miles to T-Mobile Park in Seattle for a 4th of July extravaganza as
Brilliant.
well. So absolutely, baseball managed to take my mind off of the Scotland football team performances, which, believe me, was very welcome indeed. So yeah, so it started off for us at Citi Field there in New York. The Yankees were on a road trip, but we were delighted to have the opportunity to catch up on the home of the Mets as well. The Mets is one of these teams I've always had a more than passing interest in. I think,
Right.
thinking it's being the kind of the upstarts of New York, if you like, in that kind of battle for respect against the kind of colossus that is the Yankees in terms of baseball history. And I've always loved an underdog as well. So the story of the Miracle Mets has always been one that's really struck with me as well. But for all that great history there, they have such an impressive modern facility in Citi Field, and I know all the stadiums are great, but it really blew me away, to be
Right.
honest with you. It's a point we've been to before about just the difference in scale and scope and quality and quality of experience at the ballparks in America compared to our major football stadium
Yeah.
here, night and day. And Citi Field definitely more than lived up to its billings. An easy enough journey out there to Flushing Meadows and Queens as well. Nicely set up there as well, and some great food nearby as well. Lots of great stalls out there. New York being home to every culture under the sun, you can imagine the range of eating options were all fantastic as well. And as for the game, the Mets managed to beat the Braves as well, so we got off to a winning start as well, and also picked a good box as well because it's the Braves were very much one of the teams that were my introduction to baseball many years ago, listening to the Armed Forces Radio and Television Network
Yep.
radio service on medium wave radio. No kids will have a clue what I'm talking about through any of that.
The
So no
wireless.
change there. Yeah, the wireless transistor radio. But yeah, and the Braves were such a great team in the 90s with that legendary pitching core as well. So it was good to see them, but I was pleased we were able to celebrate a pretty dominant 8-1 win for the Mets as well. But yeah, the stadium itself, the Jackie Robinson Rotunda, that tribute to Jackie Robinson, and obviously paying homage to Ebbets Field as well. And yeah, there was so much to like there. But I did particularly like the giant Big Apple that emerges when a home run is smacked there as well. I do love the baseball team's individual little celebrations there, and I very much enjoyed that as well. And they also have the original, the kind of smaller version of that used to be front and centre at Shea Stadium. They did it at Shea as well. That was a mere 9 foot, but they've still got that there outside the rotunda as well. So a fantastic stadium. Like as I say, I don't particularly like to rate stadia against each other
You're
because they've
going
all
to with
got their
this one,
own.
aren't you?
I'm going to do it with them all, but they're all going to be the very positive scores because they all were fantastic. So absolutely solid 8 out of 10 for Citi Field there. No problem at all. I might even be being slightly less than generous there, but it was a fantastic place to start our journey there as well. So yeah, absolutely, Citi Field, tons to recommend it. Definitely for baseball fans, New York, get out there to Queens, get out to Flushing Meadows, and enjoy Citi Field and cheer on the Mets. So
Cool.
from there, they headed down to Florida and Miami as well, and it was a different kind of experience. The Marlins Stadium is perhaps even more technologically impressive, slightly newer as well. Uh, but the smallest stadium in terms of seating capacity in MLB as
Right.
well, and it's
Interesting.
which I didn't realise until I was there as well. But a fantastic setup there. The game we were at was a kind of early daytime game, so had loads of kids. The time of year in America, a lot of schools and youth groups had the opportunity, had some spare time, so tons of loads of young kids and stuff there, which was brilliant to see. That kind of the future of baseball fandom and stuff like that. Kids had a fantastic time. The Marlins played very well. We met some really nice guys outside. They shared some of their Marlins fans, shared some of their insights, who to look out for, where to sit, and all that kind of stuff as well. Because despite having the kind of smallest stadium in terms of seating capacity, it can be a challenge for the Marlins to attract fans. That's just the reality of where they are. Their fans are just as fervent and passionate about their team as anywhere, but they do struggle a bit for numbers. But that meant there was some incredibly good deals. We managed to get 4 tickets, 4 hot dogs, and 4 drinks. And yeah, that was just for me. No, we managed to get that for a family of four, all just for $44. A four for
Seriously.
$44 deal. Throw in the sales tax, and it was about $60, but you can't beat that for value.
I'm not,
That was
I'm not sure if I've paid that for one game.
Oh, absolutely. And that's a point I should actually have made there. The Mets, if you're from Scotland or anywhere else traveling to the States as well, there is an art to when to purchase a ticket. So you can
Yeah.
do on the day, there's sites like StubHub, there's SeatPick, there's, these sites. And because baseball's 162 games, lots of fans can't make every game. But there's a bit of a game of chicken takes place between how long do you leave it to pick up a ticket. You can get yourself a great seat at a great price. Equally, you can end up even missing a game or then having to panic and just get something at the last minute. But the experience was very, very seamless and stuff as well. So I think we paid about $50 or $60 each for our Mets tickets, which were baseball stadiums, there's barely a bad seat to be had, and certainly for most of them, you can always walk around the concourse, find other spots to watch from. So terrific, and I really took to the Marlins as well, who defeated the Blue Jays when we were there as well. So that was fantastic, really enjoyable, and you didn't have to worry about the baking Florida heat, which was just as well. It was 100 odd degrees, fully air conditioned, retractable roof covered off, and stuff like that. It was perfect temperature to relax with a cold beer or six. To cheer on the Marlins as well. And the other thing I would say is that Dave Jr., I thought of you because they've got a bobblehead museum, and I know you're a man that loves a bobblehead. So I think they've got round about 500 or 600 of those.
Wow.
So I definitely thought that's got to be one to put onto Dave Jr.'s bucket list there as a man who loves his bobbleheads. So from there, we took just a short hop, only a mere 2,600 miles from Florida over to Seattle. And before catching up on the Mariners at T-Mobile, we actually got to go to the Tacoma Rainiers, who are
Yep.
the AAA team affiliated to the Mariners as well. And it strikes me that if the 30 MLB teams are the kind of beating heart of baseball, I think AAA is the soul of the game. It was an incredible experience to be there. It's such an intimate experience being there. You see it's more relaxed, but you get a sense of families coming there generation after generation. Really embedded with the team, with the players, delighted when their guys excel at AAA and go to the show, but also following a real affinity with the guys that are probably going to be AAA for a long period of time. So that was brilliant. Cheney Park, fortunately not named after Dick, I was pleased to hear. And it's around about 6,000 capacity, lovely setting. Obviously, in the background there of Washington State, a beautiful backdrop as well. And yeah, fantastic, really enjoyable. And my first experience, I know you guys have, I think, I'm not sure everyone's done AAA before, but I know that I think most of you guys have. So for me, it was a fantastic chance to touch base with the kind of as I say, the kind of soul of baseball, which I really enjoyed as well. So from that quiet and sleepy but really enjoyable night to the 4th of July at T-Mobile Park and the Mariners against the Blue Jays. I hadn't appreciated, but if you go for that series in particular, I only then became aware that the Blue Jays aren't just Toronto's team, they're Canada's team as the only baseball franchise in Canada. So I know it should be obvious, but you know me, I can easily miss the obvious. So a lot of them, thousands and thousands, come over the border from Vancouver and areas round about, just as fervent Blue Jay fans as you'll find in Toronto itself. It really is just a Canada's team thing. So, and obviously America celebrating its 250th anniversary of giving our lot a kicking. That was a great experience to be there for that. You know, the anthems, Star Spangled Banner in Canada, you know, really the pageantry, all of that round about it as well. And to the cherry on a very tasty cake, or maybe it should have been a tasty apple pie, given it was the 4th of July, was the Mariners thrashing the Blue Jays 11 zip, including a Randy Arozarena Grand Slam, which was amazing. And that was, as I say, it was my son, like Dave Junior's boy Archie, 15, and first time to get over there and see that baseball for him. And I know it's Dave Junior's been over a few times there, but it was a real magical moment for him as well. And T-Mobile Park, fantastic park again, modern baseball stadium, right next to the American football stadium, and it's wild. It was wild for me to see two giant sports stadiums, literally, you know, with almost running into each other. We took the ferry over to arrive there. It was a fantastic way to see the city, to approach Seattle, and to get into the stadiums there. Watched the Canada World Cup game in a place called Victory Hall, I'm sure it's called, just next to T-Mobile Park. Lovely setting there as well. And I did feel for the Canadians. I quite like Canada. So seeing their team thrashed in the World Cup, I think it was 3 zip, and then their baseball team blanked 11-0, you know, having come down for your weekend and stuff like that. I did feel a little bit sorry for them, but for me, it was a chance to pick up some Ichiro merch as well from the various options. There are some great stores nearby, lots of classic Mariner stuff as well. But yeah, just a really fantastic experience, Alan, and one we'll never forget.
Fantastic. Sounds fantastic. Yeah, I've been in a situation, I've been in a few times where bases have been loaded, and I film it every time because I'm desperate to see a grand slam. In fact, T-Mobile Park, when they played the Yankees, there were a few opportunities, but it never happened. So I'm delighted for you that you managed to see that and do that. I also I love the fact that when they play a Canadian team, you get the two anthems. I like the pageantry of the whole thing. So I think having the two anthems is absolutely fantastic. And yeah, good point about Canada's team. We went to see the Tigers at spring training this year at the Blue Jays in Dunedin, a very Scottish place. And the people beside us, I asked where they're from Toronto, and they were from Saskatchewan or somewhere, and it was like, oh, but then yeah, why wouldn't you? It makes complete sense. So no, brilliant trip, and you got some good wins and good scores and good experiences, and that's so absolutely fantastic. And Dave Junior, you stayed loyal and went to see the only team that really matters in your mind. The good old Chicago White Sox, and of course Chicago wasn't involved in the World Cup. I'm not sure Soldier Field might not be big enough and what have you these days, but you went to a better field than Soldier Field. You went to see the table topping Chicago White Sox.
Yeah, it was really interesting. Thanks, Alan. Again, just another bit of it's turning into an annual family holiday across to Chicago. It's a lovely place to spend time. The more I get to know it as well, but it gives Archie a chance to watch the White Sox in person, because he's I don't know if it's fortunately or unfortunately, took up my bad habit of watching just about every game. With him off for the school holidays just now, the last few nights as an example, he's been sitting watching the games in Texas. 1 a.m. starts, and when I've came down in the middle of the night, as men of our age have to visit the little boys' room, he's been sitting watching the games, and it's great to see. And again, he's not getting anything to get up for in the mornings, so he's just enjoying watching every game throughout the season. Normally, when he's at school, it might be a Thursday and a Sunday only, but during this summer holiday period, he's just watching everything. So last year, he got to attend his first 2 games, which were home games against the Yankees and the Royals. And we were kind of run out the stadium on both nights, which was a shame. So this year, we sort of I had a look at the schedule again, a bit like Richard's son. The boys are sitting exams throughout some of this year. And when you take into account, right, they'll receive their results on certain days. I started to marry that up with the baseball schedule and see when the White Sox had a homestand. And this one just fit perfect because it was 6 games against the Red Sox and the A's, which was really quite nice. A good time of year, all tied in with, Scotland would have been obviously marching on towards the semi-finals of the World Cup at that point, which would have been another bonus. But no,
it didn't happen.
Yeah. No, I don't want this to be a spoiler for anyone out there, but Scotland did not go on to win the World Cup, and Ali McLeod is spinning in his grave. So no, it's when I planned the trip, it meant that we'd have potential for six games, 6 nights in a row. Again, just away for a week, but really making the most of that. Richard touched on it as well, in terms of getting about his cities, just enjoying the food, enjoying the culture, and trying to mingle and just kind of meet people as well. So we were very lucky that first night. I know it's not something you guys are into, but the wee guy has really took a bit of a likening with his friends to watching WWE in the last few years. It's something I used to watch as well. It can be quite a spectacle. And I drifted away from it. But when Archie and his friends' dads actually, we've all started watching some of the events together. So we had a look to see if there was any independent wrestling firms. Might have been having a night in Chicago, a couple of hundred fans turning up. Nothing, absolutely no avail until WWE themselves announced that their flagship show was going to be in the Allstate Arena in Chicago the night that we arrived. So I couldn't believe it. It was another one of these fantastic coincidences for our break, more of which will come later. But we got along to watch Monday Night Raw in Chicago, and they had a returning, I don't know, wrestling might not be for everyone, but that night they had a returning hero who came back genuinely out of the blue, nobody seen coming. And he kind of won the title and things on that night. And given that it was all inhabitants of the Windy City that were there, they welcomed one of their own home who hadn't been seen in quite some time. And, the roof blew off the place. So it was quite a start to the trip. It was just enjoyable. I know people might knock it at times, but at the end of the day, it's a bit of drama. It's a bit of sporting prowess with a bit of script built in there. So it was really...
It's your thing. I mean, that's brilliant. It worked out for you to see that there. I was not quite the same. I remember being in Detroit and the Damned were playing a concert, and I thought, the Damned. I mean, he was.
But it turned into an absolutely fantastic opening night, and we were pretty tired. We'd been up pretty much 36 hours in the trot, but that made it was quite a bang to the end of the night, and we thought, so we've now got games the next 6 nights to go and enjoy. Now, I will say this, the first night we didn't have tickets for the Tuesday or the Thursday against Boston, but we had tickets booked in advance for all the other nights. Some of them were quite special nights, so we wanted to make sure we had those tickets booked early. But we decided not to go and see Boston on the first night. We went back down to Navy Pier, went out for a meal, just enjoyed being in Chicago. We actually, during the day, replicated our trip up to Sluggers at Wrigley Field. So we went up there, enjoyed watching one of the World Cup games. I think it was Switzerland. Can't remember who they played, but Switzerland were playing a World Cup game. We sat in the same seats that we all sat in. We went upstairs, and Archie got absolutely wired into the batting cages. It was really, really quite enjoyable upstairs, if you remember, just at Wrigley Field. And we had a great time. So I think we knocked our pan in that day, went to Navy Pier at night, had a lovely meal, and decided, this might sound a bit odd, but we were in America. So although we could nip across to the rate field, we just lay in the hotel bed at night with a takeaway, watching White Sox and Red Sox on the TV, because the TV had the MLB network on it, the local Chicago sports network. So we could sit and watch the game. As it turned out, Boston were well worthy winners that night. I think maybe 8-0. So it was a bit of a doing anyway, and we thought, right, we've escaped one here. And the next night on the Wednesday, went along, and again, one of these rare coincidences. It was just fantastic when these things happen. I I quite like playing Pokemon on my phone. I know I've kind of get a wee bit of a laugh from you guys at it at times, but I quite enjoy it. It's a worldwide phenomenon with
we've
so many
often
players.
wondered where you've gone up a side street. Where the hell what's he up to? And then we can see the phone activity. So we know it now.
Well, it means I can lie and say I was playing Pokemon when I was actually up to something unscrupulous. But there's a worldwide fan base, which is great. And the MLB announced a collaboration with Pokemon Go.
Wow.
Earlier this year, after I booked my flights, and they booked certain, I think there's only 7 teams who are going to take part, one of which was the White Sox. And the night that they picked out of all year was the Wednesday against the Red Sox. So you had all these Pokemon fans turning up. I'll fish it out in a wee second, but you received a Pokemon White Sox baseball jersey as part of it.
Perfect.
You guys know the giveaways. It was my team, literally my Pokemon team with my baseball team on a baseball jersey for free. And you had loads of Pokemon players walking all around the stadium, just doing the different, because there was different tasks and rewards and things for players. So it was really quite enjoyable. Although I think that night the Red Sox ran out. That was either 5-0 winners or 2-1. Either way, it was a Red Sox victory.
You're not trying to pretend you booked this trip without knowing about the Pokemon experience. We know that's why you booked that week.
You know me too well.
Scotland in the World Cup semi-final. Well, it's bound to happen, yeah. Oh, look, there's a Pokemon experience.
And then on the Thursday, it was an afternoon game, which was really enjoyable. I think when we all went to Chicago, we were hit with the weather as well, guys, you'll remember. And I think we had afternoon games on the Saturday and Sunday, and it was quite a pleasant experience to sit in the sun. Archie and I were hit with exactly the same weather that the 4 of us had, which might bring back memories. It was 34, 35 degrees, and we did struggle at times. I've got to admit, we went for quite a few walks on the concourse. Again, that would have been another Boston win. Again, it might have been a 2-1 or 5-0, but it was it resulted in a sweep. And at this point, Archie in his baseball career is 0 for 4 in terms of watching the White Sox, and he is. We did humorously bring up, what if the A's win the 3 games? What if this is just the worst trip ever? But the next day, and I really could, Alan, I'll need to watch the time here. How long have we got? But the Friday night was one of the best nights of my life. I've got to say that. It was absolutely incredible. In fact, you guys will remember, we bumped into a bunch of Mexican fans our first night there, who were so kind to us, sharing their tequila and just generally good human beings. The south side of Chicago, where the White Sox play, is quite Latin. There's a whole lot of Latinos and quite a black community as well. So this particular night on the Friday was heralded for weeks in the build-up. It was Mexican Heritage Night, and Archie and I thought we'll go nice and early and Again, we're not going to tailgate, but we will try and enjoy the experience. The place was packed. It was absolutely packed. People had taken the day off work to be in the car park. It was a Friday night game. If you remember before, the White Sox put on a hell of a fireworks show at the end of a Friday night evening. Now, to top it off, at the start of the day, the White Sox had made a trade with the Pirates to acquire their draft pick, which would have been the White Sox then second draft pick. So that started off the day on an interesting note. Murakami was then reinstalled from the injury list, so another big plus. This is all on the Friday. We're then greeted by a bunch of half-drunk Mexicans who are just full of hugs and love and colour and dance and song, and it was quite an amazing night. As we enter the stadium and they're about to start, they announce via the big screens that Murakami has been entered into the home run derby, which gets a huge round of applause. It's then announced that he will be joining Miguel Vargas into the All-Star game.
Oh, yeah.
The game itself, the White Sox run out 14-1 winners. Home run after home run, fireworks after fireworks. It's pitch black. Mexicans are going crazy all around us. It's the best seats that I picked for that night. They were quite expensive up in the box. And we were sat in amongst Mexicans who were looking after Archie, just asking what we're doing there, how we fell in love with the White Sox. A couple of Hispanic gentlemen next to me who must have been well into their 70s were passing around some contraband tequila, which had been smuggled in. Again, they were more than happy to share this with Archie and I. Bad parent of the year alert, but I poured a little bit to give to Archie, and before I could give him a chance to just say, take your time, just sip. It's a bit of a short drink.
No.
You don't want to doof straight down the hatch, and his eyes went to the size of baseballs. So that was his first experience of tequila. As I've mentioned before, on a different podcast, Tristan Peters, our rookie centre fielder, who was with the Savannah Bananas not too long ago, went to hit for the cycle, which is the 7th in White Sox history. The place went bananas, although I'm not sure people really quite knew at the time. Yes, very good point. On the back of that, with a full house for the evening, you have Spanish dancing everywhere. Women are absolutely dressed up in beautiful dresses, the colours, the music's on the go. Is it mariachi bands? Everywhere. It was just fantastic. You had the fireworks to top off the night after the show. The next morning, so I'll count this as a Friday night because it's all within 24 hours. Again, this is 24-hour period. Tristan Peters, who hit the cycle, was announced into the All-Star team. Again, a rookie. The journey from Savannah Banana to All-Star is incredible. On the Saturday afternoon, Archie and I are walking down North Michigan Avenue, and who do we bump into? Tristan Peters with his wife and child. It's just one of those moments when you stop in the street. The White Sox then that day went on to have the number 1 draft pick.
When you bumped into him, did you actually speak to him, or you weren't that?
We didn't. There was a bit of eye contact, but I must say my parents drilled into me as a kid, if you see someone out with their family, as a Rangers fan growing up, there's a time and a place. I'm pretty sure
good parenting from them.
He would have been open to it, I think, but you don't want to. He's probably enjoying a moment before he flies out to Philadelphia.
Absolutely.
So again, at that moment, the White Sox make the number 1 draft pick in Rock Chalowski, who's, again, yes, in Chicago, he's the second coming, effectively. Nobody's actually ever seen him play a game of baseball, but he's the second coming, and he's ready to. He'll be coming up within the next 2 years. He's just about ready, not ready to go, but they expect him to be up in the show by 2028.
Correct.
And the reason that I mentioned the trade pick earlier on at the start of the day is that a name you guys might be familiar with, Jim Thome, real legend of the game. I think he's one of those guys. I believe he has 3 statues at 3 different baseball grounds because of his prowess with a bat. So he is a bit of a Chicago White Sox legend. I can't remember the other teams he played for. It might have been Cleveland or Minnesota. I'm not too sure, but he is revered around the league. Jim Thome, and I think he's actually the president of the MLB Players Association. He does have quite a high standing in that. Anyway, the White Sox, in achieving this trade for the Pirates draft lottery, were able to then draft his son Landon Thome into the White Sox organization, which went down an absolute storm. So Landon and Jim and his wife, they all live still in Illinois. It's a huge homecoming for this boy. It's not just a petty draft pick. He is a very highly well thought of high school player. But the White Sox are just over the moon to be picking up him, the son of a legend. The fans, the White Sox fans, not me, but the true White Sox fans that go game in, game out, they know these guys. They know the history of the players, and it was a big deal to them. And the White Sox brought Rock Jalowski, the number 1 pick, and Thome in the next morning to throw first pitch at the Sunday game. So it was, again, the place was just, everything about the White Sox feels good just now. At that moment, it felt like we can't do any wrong. Miguel Vargas, our third baseman, went on to hit a home run during the All-Star game, during what was a bit of a pitcher's duel. Everything really went for the White Sox, and for Archie and I, not only getting to experience Archie's first win, but so many historical moments. So, getting to see a sweep, being brought into the kind of bosom of so many people at the stadium. The Saturday and Sunday was spent with Section 108, who are kind of a bit of a hardcore crew. And again, they were very kind to us with their words, with their consideration. It was just a great trip, Alan. We made our way home on the Sunday night, straight from the Sunday afternoon game. We came home to kind of watch the All-Star game and watch the home run derby. Like Munetaka came fifth. Dave's boy done really well. Wilson Contreras.
Wilson!
He was phenomenal in that first round. It was just a great break. Even though we arrived home on the Monday, it spilled over to the kind of Tuesday and Wednesday and watching everything unfold for the White Sox. And it was just a fantastic trip.
I'm really pleased because I know we exchanged a few messages when you were there, but I was a wee bit anxious at one point that this losing streak for poor Archie was continuing as well. But love it.
And Richard mentioned bobble earlier. So it's a southpaw, which is the White Sox mascot. Yeah. I know Dave is a bit of a fan of a mascot. And on the Sunday, the day that we left, was Munetaka Murakami's first ever bobblehead night. So I've not opened it yet, but it's him wearing his Japan jersey at the World Baseball Classic. And they were like gold dust. You had to have bought a ticket back in March to receive the bobblehead. And there were a lot of people that hadn't quite realised that. They thought it might have been a first come, first served. And given that the South Side have really took the Japanese man into their hearts, there's a lot of people are really coveting all that merchandise.
In Scotland.
Sorry, Archie's passing me his Murakami statue as well.
There'll not be many of them in Scotland. I'll get.
There won't.
Put that back on the screen for a wee second.
Oh, Archie.
Let's have a wee look at that again. That's a thing of beauty.
We'll get up on the website, Alan.
The listeners need to see that.
There's the bat actually comes out.
Oh wow! Oh, that's just so. This is incredibly shallow of me, but I'm going to a Tigers White Sox game in the middle of August, and it's a promotions game, and I just keep checking to see if they've announced what the promotion is actually going to be. And I think it's like they do a few different things, but this I think is the main one of the month. So I'm assuming it's going to be something half decent. What I hadn't seen before as well was that, I think one of the games I'm going to see them play the Guardians. It's like a special night for one of the universities or colleges in the state. So I didn't look at it, but you can buy a special ticket and get like a East Michigan University sweatshirt. Now I've got no interest in buying that. I maybe should have checked out what colours East Michigan University sweatshirts are. But I think, yeah, if you pay an extra, I don't know, 20, $30 for your ticket, then you then qualify for one of these as well. So it's quite good that they do different types of promotions like that as well. But yeah, and I ventured into the world of StubHub. One of the guys we interact with on Twitter made the recommendation to use a StubHub for tickets because he was saying it's generally a little bit cheaper, but effectively it's a I don't know how this ties in with MLB, but it's supporting guys who have probably bought a season ticket and they're then reselling them, which is a more moral thing to do than like bots or scalpers buying all these tickets as well. So yeah, a guy pays a couple of $1,000s for his season ticket. He's then entitled to sell a few on. Bit like the seat sub and that you'll see at Ibrox as well. Dave.
Alan, did you mention the East Michigan University colours that you've not checked them yet?
What are you going to tell me?
I mean, Dave and Richard might be a fan of the colours. It literally is green and white.
That was a $25 well saved. So yeah, I'm quite happy with that choice. That's a nice looking black and gold top socks. Nice one.
Beautiful.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
pretty cool.
Good Pokemon.
But no, you're right, Alan. These giveaway nights, you heard Richard. I know it wasn't a giveaway, but the deal in terms of getting families or groups into a stadium with $44, it brings you in. These nights, I don't know if the Pokemon night would have got any new White Sox fans, but these giveaway nights, they leave you with another bit of tat to bring home to find room for on a shelf. They might just leave some emotional link with in your life. And for me, both of those things that I picked up this trip are fantastic. They do mean something to me.
Yeah,
but
the ticket buying's interesting there as well because like I've picked a couple of games to go to, so they wanted to make sure that I got tickets for them. And the Sunday lunchtime one will be busy. The Thursday lunchtime one, I'm not so sure, but because I want to go, I thought the tickets were reasonably priced. I'll go and do it. Dave?
Yeah, just on giveaways, I just happened to have the giveaway I got at Tiger Stadium, the old Tiger Stadium, 1999, and this is it.
Oh, the fridge.
Magnet showing the 1999 schedule. And we were going into the stadium and we got talking to this guy. And he was I've never seen anyone so, he says, that's got to be the best giveaway I've ever seen. And he was it's still on my, I've got a metal cabinet here and it's pride of place.
Brilliant. I love it.
We were there in April against the Yankees and we saw the Tigers beat Derek Jeter's Yankees.
Well, that's always a good one as well, beating the Yankees. So it's been great to catch up. I know, Richard, you wanted to chat a wee bit about your Fenway experience, but I think you want to bring that up another time because it was just such a great thing, and you obviously want to talk a wee bit more with Yorkshire Dave on your Fenway experience. One of the 5 ballparks you saw on your trip, and you eloquently covered the other 4 early on. And Dave Jr., I appreciate your enthusiasm and excitement at Guaranteed Rate Field. Well done. We'll catch up with Richard on that. We'll catch up with my excitement in Comerica Park, hopefully in a few weeks' time as well. I hope it goes as well as your 2 guys' trip. But thanks for that just now, guys. We'll speak to you all soon, and thanks everybody for listening.